Hello, hello there, my crafty friends. It's Candy here from sweetstamper.com, and I'm here at 4 o'clock on Thursday. This is November the 2nd, and typically I'm here with you at 7 p.m. But it's been just a totally different kind of week. It's birthday week for me and my husband. My birthday was Halloween, Tuesday. And so I was very blessed to have my youngest grandchildren here to celebrate with us, and both my sons and my daughter-in-law. And so we shifted some things around because it was in the middle of the work week. And then my husband's birthday is Saturday, and we are going on a date night tonight. So I needed to kind of make room in my schedule to go out tonight. So here we are at 4 in the afternoon. You know, it's funny. I used to be 4 o'clock for a long time. I think for at least a year or two. Probably at least 2 years. And then I moved it till later, which actually has worked a lot better for me. But anyway, that's the story of how I'm here at 4 o'clock today. Hey, Tasha and Mary, I'm so glad you're here. Hello, Margaret, Jolene, and Pat. We've already got people gathered. Let me grab my little host code info. It is a brand new month with Stampin' Up. I can't believe we're in November. You know, this is that time of year when it seems like time just literally flies. Hey, Lisa, welcome, welcome. But I am so grateful. Here in South Central Texas, we are having actual autumn weather. So it is absolutely glorious. We were barbecuing on Tuesday for my birthday with the grandchildren being young. We celebrated in the middle of the day. And so we were really reveling. The kids were playing outside in the backyard. It was great to be able to do that. Okay, we have people here. Everything is set, ready. I've got my computer going, and hopefully I'm not going to have the issues that we had last week with all kinds of crazy like buffering with the feed. So, Margaret, thank you so much for the birthday wishes. Okay, so today, what I'm going to share with you, is something I used to do a lot, and it's called simple stamping, and I got away from it. I used to do this at least once a month, and so I'm going to do some simple stamping, and I'm going to use this stamp set. Now, I'm going to add some other things as well, but one of the reasons I'm using this stamp set is because it's the feature for my Twist Club. Now, Twist Club is my monthly stamp club, and for November, I'm featuring this stamp set. Now, this is 4 of the cards that we're doing, so, well, actually, I've got 6 of them here. So I'm kind of doing a little bit of a riff on this card, and a little bit of a riff on this card. I think this was here because I was working on PDF tutorials. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to take these and turn them into simple stamping. And I also wanted to just put a quick plug in for my Twist Club. It is a subscription, and it's only $39 a month. It gets you, for November, let me show you what you get. You get these gems, half a roll of these beautiful ribbons that were unavailable for a long time, half a pack of this beautiful paper that was unavailable for quite a while, and then you get all the card kits for 8 cards, plus your envelopes, plus your first class shipping. So it's a great deal, and so I wanted to put a little plug in for that. You can just do a single month. But to me, it's like you pay a little bit more when you do the single month. Why not just jump into the subscription? You can cancel any time, but you get better pricing. So it makes sense to me to do it that way. I also wanted to show you really quick before we jump into stamping. This is one of the gifts for my Twist Club members. So every 6 months, if they do a 6-month consecutive subscription, so 6 months in a row, they get a gift in the mail from me, and it's about $25 a product. So let me just show you. This one's all ready to go, and in this one, I do different things. Sometimes they get a kit, sometimes they get a stamp set. So here's their little note. And then this one, they get this lovely, this is a super fun kit. This is called Notes of Cheer. So I've got a fun little tag in here, and then I've got some candy, and I've got some mini and regular dimensionals. I've got some gems, those pretty dots. So things that they can use kind of all year. That's just a little free fun thing. And that is all free. It comes in the mail for them when they've completed 6 months. So like I said, I sometimes, I vary it up quite a bit. Because for one thing, I don't ever want somebody getting the same gift, but they usually will get either a kit like that, or I oftentimes will give them a host stamp set. And so I wanted to feature that today for my first simple stamping card. We're going to be using both these stamp sets together. Now I trust that I'm not... my feed on my computer, I think, is just totally different. Let me just refresh my screen and make sure I'm still coming through, because I don't want to have issues like I had last time. Okay, so I wanted to show you ways that you could take this stamp set and go beyond just kind of what you maybe preconceived ideas based on what's shared here in the catalog. So I love this Blessed Beyond Measure. Of course, the greetings can go well beyond, different seasons, but so can the other stamps. So we're going to do an all neutrals card. There's my little, if you want to place an order, I'm still working on what the free gifts are going to be this month, but I will compensate you very nicely. Oh, lovely. I don't have this one prepped for you. So this one I'm going to show you, and the other one I'm going to stamp with you. Did I not? No, I never did prep this. Okay, so here is card number 1 that you will not see a demonstration of. So this is an all greetings stamp set. The hashtag simple stamping this month is stamps, ink, paper, and a punch. And what I wanted to show you here, let me grab a piece of cardstock to show you. You might not think that there is a punch on this card, but what I did was, and I'm going to just pull this down a little bit. It won't be totally straight, but it'll be about. So what I did, you see how I just wanted to kind of round these edges a little bit? So a lot of us, most of us that are avid stampers or even casual stampers, we have this double oval punch. And I like to get a lot of use out of my punches. They can be real workhorses. So you can just feed that right into there and punch. And you see how that gives me a nice little soft edge. This particular card, it's all neutrals. This is Pebbled Path. This is very vanilla. And this is Early Espresso and Crumb Cake. Even though this is a super simple stamping card, it does have a lot of heft to it because of the layers. So anytime you take a card and you put a lot of layers in it, you really get a feeling of luxury. And that is something I really love in our cards. So that's what I did here. And this will still measure, it will mail. I've got this on my brain. It will mail for a single stamp. So this is super, super classic. I love all neutral cards. This also could easily go for a man or a woman. This is just a beautiful, serene scene. And so, yeah, I've got all my stamps ready, and I didn't cut the cardstock. So good thing I had a plan. Here is the other side. So once you stamp it, you can just feed it through there. And then you get those nice little, just that little rounded edge. You know, sometimes you have a stamped, you have a greeting, and you don't really have a punch that's the right size. You maybe don't have a die cutting machine, or you don't want to get it out. And so this just enables you to make a pretty little edge really, really without any effort at all. Okay, so there's card number 1. Didn't quite go according to plan. Got my stamps mounted and everything. So let's go to card number 2. And this time I'm going to use just the flower. Now this flower, it looks a little bit like a poinsettia, which is the way I'm going to use it, but I've used it in a lot of other ways. So here in this little crate, you can see that doesn't really look like poinsettias. This one really doesn't when I pulled in the blue. So it can, depending on the colors that you use on these flowers, you can make them pretty much anything. I mean, there's nothing that says poinsettia about that. So many flowers have those nice pointed petals. So I'm going to do something a little bit different this time because I'm not going to add color, but I am going to use it as a Christmas stamp. So let's grab, I'm going to make a simple Christmas card with stamped ink paper and a punch. And I'm going to use Rustic Crate, plus I'm going to use Cheers to the Season. Now, let's see. I was going to show you the cards that I had done with that. They are not handy. Okay. Stick to the script, Candy. Okay, so I'm going to use this 'Tis the Season. And I'm going to use the poinsettia. So let's see where we can get on with some super simple stamping. Now here's my little, this one is prepped and ready to go. So what I'm going to do here is I have a crumb cake card base. And this is just an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock cut in half. I do like to score them because they come out really with a nice crisp fold, which is something I like. Now, I've got 3 ink pads here. And again, all I'm going to use is stamped ink paper and a punch. Now, I'm going to do tone-on-tone stamping here. And I'm going to make a little background using this flower stamp and really kind of make it into a poinsettia. Now, I do want you to be aware that if you turn it this way, sometimes, I don't know, to me it looks a little upside down. I prefer it this way. So it's probably just a matter of preference, not a biggie, but that's the way I'm going to do it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go all around the outside and make a little frame. And again, this is just tone on tone. This is crumb cake ink on crumb cake cardstock. And I'm just, oh, yeah, that's right. I'm just going to go all the way around and leave a center. And you can see how I'm getting a little bit of overhang on my mat. That's okay. All that will wash out. You can just run a damp sponge over that. You can also run a baby wipe over that. And look how pretty that looks. Crumb cake can really give you a vintage look, which is kind of what I'm going for here. Now I'm going to just put that right in there. And that's going to give me a nice little frame. So just kind of showing you the versatility. One of the things I really aim for with my Twist Club is I aim to give people versatility and variety and value. So versatility is going to start with the stamp set that I choose, because we're going to make 8 different cards in Twist Club each month. So I need that stamp set to really work for me. I need it to go beyond two obvious ways to use it. Now I'm going to go ahead and put this away because it will just, like I said, I'm going out to dinner with my hubby tonight, so I got to kind of get with the program and not have a whole terrible mess here when I am done. Okay. Now, what we're going to do next is, here's all my little pieces here. Look at that, I even put the dimensionals in there. Now I'm going to take a piece of, this is garden green cardstock, and this is a 3/4 inch strip. This is what I oftentimes call a cardstock ribbon because it really kind of functions as a ribbon. And when you're doing simple stamping, you know, this is no ribbon, no embellishments. I mean, we are going super simple. This is the way, this is the way I started stamping. It was just stamp, ink, and paper. When I first started stamping, we didn't even have a die cutting machine. We did have punches. So this is very familiar territory for me. I'm going to use these mini glue dots. These are actually part of a paper pumpkin kit. And that's when I like to use them, is when I'm doing something really small. Okay, so this is where I'm going to go, but you might wonder where the punch is going to come in, and we're going to make this super fancy with a punch. So this is a very vanilla cardstock. This is 3x3, and again, this is just the full card base, and I've stamped directly on there. I'm not putting any extra layers except for that one little cardstock ribbon. And now I'm going to take this rather large stamp. When I have a large stamp, I like to turn it upside down and ink it from there. And I have real red cardstock. I have real red ink. And I have just inked this pad, so you can see I've got quite a bit of ink there, but I think it's going to be okay. And I'm going to stamp like so. Now you notice I don't have my foam mat under here because honestly it's too squishy when you're using a red rubber or a cling rubber stamp. This already has, essentially, it has that cushion there. You see that foam? So that's what this does with our photopolymer stamps. It functions as that extra little piece. Isn't that a beautiful, beautiful stamp? Now, it's pretty just like this, but we're going to frame it and fancy it up a little bit. So let's go ahead and pop this in the case. I wish I could find, I did a whole series of cards with this stamp set. It's a fun stamp set. But you know what? I will share them probably tomorrow here on Facebook. So I do try to give you some, in between my Facebook Lives, try to give you some inspiration, and sometimes we just play a little bit and have some fun as well. Now this is going to be like so, and that would be pretty just like it is. However, we want to take it up a little notch by using a punch, and I'm going to bring in this Very Best Trio punch. It's $21 punch. And I like it rather a lot. So I'm just going to pop this corner right into the corner, press down, and be mindful when you use this punch that the way you start is the way you need to finish, because you can't go here and here. These are two, it's going to give you two different edges. Now I could do this, and that looks pretty cool. However, I think that gives me a little bit too much of the early espresso. So I'm going to take this and bring my punch right back in. This is 3 1/4 by 3 1/4. My first piece was 3 inch by 3 inch. So I'm using Very Vanilla and Old Olive and Crumb Cake as my kind of neutrals trifecta. And then I'm adding pops of color, very traditional Christmas colors, with the real red ink here and the garden green cardstock here. Now I'm going to go ahead and layer these two together. And I can't see comments while I'm stamping today. I usually can interact with you guys, but yeah, the way it's coming through on my computer just is not working that. So this is the way we're rolling today. Okay, so you may wonder where I'm going to use these mini glue dots, but let me show you. So here we've got some, we're doing some Stampin' Dimensionals, and we will just pop these off like so. You know, this is a really affordable way to make your Christmas cards, or just to do your stamping in general. You know, it's hard for me nowadays to make a card without our designer series paper. It's become my absolute favorite addition to stamp, ink, and paper. But, you know, you just kind of have to go old school sometimes and go back to the beginning. So what else can I add here? Because remember, this is stamp, ink, paper, and a punch. I can't add any embellishments. You know, it's actually a really good exercise in creativity when you have strong parameters. So I have made some really thin cuts of This is crumb cake cardstock, and I'm just going to do these all at once. And I'm going to basically break down the fibers a little bit by running it through my bone folder several times. You know, our cardstock is actually quite strong, and it will withstand quite a bit. Now I'm going to take this. Now I had planned on doing, I don't think these are long enough to do a bow. Let's see, no. So my plan was to do a couple of little cardstock knots. And again, making my cardstock into a piece of a ribbon. Okay, Candy, just don't try to make it hard. Use a big loop. You got several of these pieces here. There we go. I was going to try to get more than one out of this piece. Now you see that? You just kind of pull. Don't pull too hard. And that is going to give me a little ribbon knot. It's almost like a piece of linen thread, but it's cardstock, and I'm just going to add those to my ornaments, and they look like, to me, when you do this with crumb cake, it looks like a piece, of linen thread, or a piece of, just twine. That would be a crumb cake twine. So I'm just going to knock these, trim these off just a little bit. And then I need one more because I'm going to do them on each ornament. You see how much that adds? Because it adds a lot of texture. And a lot of times when we're adding ribbon, we're adding embellishments, essentially what we're adding is we're adding texture. So let's see how that is going to go. You see the red. When I use a red ink pad, real red or cherry cobbler, yeah, it kind of looks like I'm bleeding, but I'm not. Thankfully, I have not nicked my fingers. So to put these on, I'm going to use, where did my pick tool go? Let's grab it here. Somewhere. I'm going to use my old one here. So you see what a big difference that makes? Here it is without, and here it is, with. Well, I haven't put them on yet, but so let's use these. These are from my paper pumpkin kit. So I'm just going to pull that off. And you see that little tiny glue dot? That's perfect because our regular glue dots are a bit larger than that. And then, you can kind of maneuver that cardstock, those little cardstock knots, to the position. Oh, I just pulled that one too tight. Now, the other thing I want to, top tip I want to share with you on doing this is you need really thin pieces of cardstock. If you get them too thick, they look a bit clunky and chunky, at least to me. So it probably depends on the project you're working on, but normally when I do this, I want it to be really thin. And it's just a fun way to, and very affordable way to use your cardstock. And I will tell you another top tip is you might think, well, I can use my little tiny scraps. It doesn't work as well because you've got to cut these really thin with your paper trimmer. You could do them with scissors, but I find that to be difficult. I can't get it as straight with scissors as I can with my paper trimmer. So you see how I have all of my little ends kind of going up because I didn't want anything coming down. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen, simple stamping. Stamps, ink, paper, and a punch. There's the punch that I'm using. And I'm featuring the Rustic Garden stamps in alternate ways besides using them with the bundle and adding in a second stamp set. So here's this one. And then the other one I did is with the Hostess stamp set. And you can see kind of I was going with really neutral patterns or neutral color palettes today. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you like simple stamping. Stamps, ink, paper, and a punch. Super small set of supplies. And so hopefully this inspires you to get out your neutral cardstocks, to get out, I only used one ink pad here, two here, and and just have fun with your stamps, ink, and paper. This punch is really valuable. This is a slot. This is, of course, gives you that corner knocked off, but this is the one that I tend to use the most. And one of the things I like about this, as well as the little trick I showed you with the oval punch here, is no matter what size you have, you can still use it. You know, some things, like if this image is too large to punch out of any of our punches, and I didn't want to go to a die set. So just a fun exercise in creativity. Don't forget, this is my November host code. Still working out what the gifts are going to be, but you know, any order of any size, I send you a set of free tutorials, and then I'm working on maybe some card packets and some embellishments and things with a $40 above order. And then when you hit the $50 mark, that is the magic number to bring in some embellishments and things that are a little bit higher priced. So there's my host code. Thank you so much for tuning in. I will have the other thing you get. Well, you know what? I'm just going to send these tutorials out in my email. So the next email that goes out will have these tutorials. I mean, they're super, super simple, but it's nice to have all of the measurements ready, especially for something like this. But even these layers, you can see how I did. They have a larger than usual frame on the outside. But that really kind of adds to the elegance of really, really zeroing in on that beautiful, beautiful stamped image. This reminds me of a pen and ink drawing. Yes, you can stamp that image and you can color it. You know, my aversion for doing that much coloring. If I were going to color that, I would probably use my watercolor pencils and I would enjoy it. But I do think that these images are really nice, just stamped in all neutral. This would also be really pretty if you heat embossed it, like with black. That would be really pretty with black. Oh, Dudley, I'm glad you like these. So, you know, simple trim, kind of tailored, very gender neutral. You know, I think the guys would like these just as much as the girls, and that's always a plus. So that is it for today. Sweet and simple. #simple stamping. Thanks so much for tuning in. Take care and God bless.